Be fun. Hi, everybody. Welcome to A Fern Between Us, episode 81.
We're two of the four owners of E81 Winery. My name's Jesse.
I'm Michelle, and welcome to our lives. We're just having a family meeting. It's always fun to start a show with, well, damn it. But here we are. We're having fun. We are here for you and your entertainment.
I didn't think you had to tell people that.
Dude, something has to explain the flat note we started on. All right, so we're going to do a little check-in. How are you? How are things going? You've been home a couple weeks now, working. What's that like, Mr. Jesse Pedberg?
It's good. I've just been, taking care of project-based working, rather than like just the whole time or whatever. It's like been going, Chris we've been dividing and conquering. We, set one guy on filtering wines, one guy on figuring out this and that. I don't know. Yeah. So it's been good. Not too bad, not too good. It's just doing it. It's been fun.
Nice.
Getting ready for Crush is what we're really doing. We're lots of ordering, lots of money flowing outwards.
Oof.
It's okay. That's a good thing. But you also get excited. Where Chris and I are getting excited to make a bunch of new wines. We uncovered the new press and try to start figuring that out.
Oh yeah.
Trips to town, trying to find, what we need to, I don't know if you guys know this, but like big equipment comes with just a wire, and you set up the electricity that works with your system or whatever. But it's
really
always like, the electricity we use isn't just your standard, like for the dryer or whatever. We have like 3-phase power and regular one phase, but 220, and we do a lot of electrical rewiring of all of our stuff. And so that's one of those things. But then you go to the store and they don't always have exactly what you're looking for your system.
So it takes multiple times going to the store and multiple stores. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
And trying to find some of these things on Amazon, like Amazon has everything, but like, do you know exactly what it's called and how to find it? And then even if you do find the right section, maybe they only have like 2-inch and 3-inch and 4-inch, but not 2.5-inch or something, whatever it is you're looking for. It's kind of hard. So like, I like to go to a physical store for some things that you just absolutely can't get on Amazon. So yeah. I don't know. That's what.
Nice.
That's been my last couple days.
And in part is a little bit of a push because next week we're going to your family reunion.
Yes, and then as soon as we get back, we have to start.
Crush.
Having everything pretty much ready. I mean, we'll have 2 weeks, but we have to. Everything has to come up to snuff real quick.
Yeah.
And we still have a lot more wines to bottle. We're going to bottle, I think, 8 or 9 wines before Crush, or ideally before Crush starts. Often it bleeds into the first part of Crush, but we like to keep our stable wines really stable before we introduce a whole bunch of new yeast into the winery.
Really good idea.
Malolactic bacteria into the winery. Like, there's a lot of things, and it's all volatilized, so we kind of feel like
the sooner the better.
The sooner the better
So, do you want to tell everybody what your family reunion is like?
Oh, this is the best thing ever. All right, so my grandpa on my mom's side was one of 8 brothers and sisters, and they wanted a way to get together, and they all pooled their money and bought a piece of property, and then came together and built a rustic cabin in the Ozark Mountains in southern Missouri on a lake called Table Rock Lake. And we're on like this.
A pretty amazing thing.
It's so cool, and it's on this one little arm of the lake. This lake is huge. I think it's 40 or 50 miles, like one direction, and then it's like, I don't know. It's really big, but we're on one like little private kind of arm of it, and so we have like our own a boat will drive by every 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that. But basically, we have like the whole area to ourselves, water skiing off.
Big trees.
Yeah,
very
it's
beautiful.
really cool. But it is in southern Missouri, really humid, and we're looking at 99 degrees almost every day next week. So it's going to be hot.
A key component is that because the family has grown over the years, as families do, it's a big group of people and everybody camps. So camping in that heat is an important component of
this year we rented
unique experience.
This year we've rented a camper trailer that has air conditioning, but with 80 people camping in a place, even if you can run the extension cord to your camper, which we will, there's not enough power on one lot that's going to allow like everyone to have like an air conditioner. So,
but
we're going to be with fans.
Fan, electricity, light.
Even a toilet.
A little camper toilet.
Rather than the bank, we won't have to use every time the bank of porta potties.
and I won't be sleeping on the ground with my RA. I just couldn't even fathom being in a tent on the ground. It was like too much for my brain. It was scrambling me. So I am excited to try this out in a little trailer. I didn't realize after the pandemic, or I should say during the pandemic, a bunch of people bought trailers, which we did see that was happening, and then it was really expensive to get a trailer, and you couldn't rent a trailer and all these things. But then now all these people have trailers to rent, and it's like an Airbnb thing, only for trailers. So they're going to deliver the trailer to our camp spot,
set it up for us,
stay in it, and then they pick it up and take it off and clean it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the best way to have a trailer.
No, this is mega cool. And even if I did the math today, even if we had our own trailer and hauled it out there, it was going to cost us about 30% of the cost that it's going to cost to rent this thing. I mean, and somebody else does all the work, and we have less wear and tear on our vehicle. So like, I don't know. I like this. This is cool.
I hope it works out.
And we get to see all my cousins and second
Phenomenal
cousins.
Phenomenal people.
The next generation are like second cousins and third cousins and fourth cousins, and it's pretty cool. I mean, not everyone can make it, of course. It's once every 3 years. We've done it every single 3 years since I think it's 1950 something.
That's incredible.
So
it really is.
In my life, I've missed one, and that was the first time when we were early days making wine. And we got the call.
Because it was happening in August.
Yeah, it was going to be the
crush was happening.
First
it was your
week of
first
August.
Big crush.
Exactly.
And there was no way to be gone.
And we were just
grapes were coming.
Yeah, we had grapes coming. We said, well, we're going to miss that one. But out of 46 years old, I've only missed one. That's pretty good.
It really is. It's impressive. And the people are just amazing. I think it's a really, truly unique family. There's so many absolutely wonderful, interesting, creative, generous, kind, loving people. It makes a girl like me go camping in Missouri in 100-degree weather. So that says a lot.
Not without complaining, though.
Hey, I don't complain while I'm there. I just complain while we get ready for it.
Right? Thinking of the suffering that's about to occur.
I haven't complained since I got the trailer contracted.
That's true. You have not.
It's usually that you're like, we don't need pillows and we can sleep on the ground. And I'm like, but a cot, and I like a pillow. And what if it rains and it's hot?
And there's snakes.
Yeah, the snakes. And that's my worst fear are snakes. So that sucks.
Yeah.
But
tree snakes, land snakes, water snakes. Water moccasins.
Okay. Oof.
All right. Yeah. Let's get to wine. What do we? What's the story? Are we?
I don't know. I think I'll just stay in the trailer. I'll just stay in the trailer. I'll start scheduling people to come by and see me. We are drinking the Gruner, and one of the reasons why was I was down at the tasting room. Some of you that evidently watched the show saw me. Hi! I was actually there. Lots of people are wondering who the hell I was. It was very funny. And some people were recognizing me. I know you from the show.
That's cool.
But I was actually redoing our tasting list, which is when you put the wines in different order according to how you should taste them. If, say, you were going to taste all of them, or you were going to taste a section of them, you want to taste them in order so that each wine shows and shines as best as it can. And one of the things that I was just really excited about was what the Gruner is tasting like right now. We talked about that is a great summer wine last episode.
And you wanted to be sure you weren't lying.
Well, actually, tasting it now again, especially in the lineup, I got even more excited about it. And so I thought it would be nice for us to talk a little bit about what, Gruner, a lot of people aren't actually familiar with it. It's a nice sort of substitute for Sauvignon Blanc. It's got some grassy kind of green notes.
This is the wine, this is the grape we planted to take the Sauvignon Blanc spot on our list. Well, we knew we could grow it, and therefore we said what we like the north for white wines. Like the grapes from the north of northern New Mexico we feel like make better wines than white grapes from southern New Mexico. So
at least for us.
And so we were looking for white wines to plant or whatever. Once we found this Gruner, we said, okay, what's on our list? And we had been making a Sauvignon Blanc. I had never been that stoked about our Sauvignon Blanc. I love Sauvignon Blancs in general, but for whatever reason, I was like, So we were able to eliminate that and put this in there. With this new press,
do you think that you might try it again?
Potentially, yeah.
Right? Because I think one of the things was that it was oxidized every time. And so it was a darker golden color. It
just
had
not my
tired
favorite
fruit, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good, but
if we can figure
nitpick.
If we can figure out how to harvest it earlier, also, I think between harvesting earlier and our new press, potentially maybe next year.
Yeah. So Gruner is really identified as the white grape of Austria.
Yeah.
But it is being planted all over the place. And so you're seeing some New World versions, some new places in the Old World planting it too. But of course, that's really the classic, is the Austrian version. And I think this is a really nice mirror of when we were in, when we were in, okay, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but Wachau?
Yeah. W-A-C-H...
O.
O-W? No.
O-U?
Just O-U. O-U.
Yeah.
A-U. A-U.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know German really well. But yeah, the Wachau
and there were two areas, and so you got more of a thin, bright versus a little fuller bodied. You talked a little bit about that oiliness, and it definitely is more like the latter, and has some really nice fruit, and it's just beautiful. So I highly suggest that. Also, it's from our 1725 vineyard, and that got its name by it's the date that the Spanish were given the land grant through this whole area. So that land in particular was part of that. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, are you ready to jump into questions?
I'm ready.
Yeah. Maybe I should make up some of my own, and I can be like, so Jessie.
Right? She was really mean earlier. It was crazy.
I tell you. You make me feisty sometimes.
It wasn't even me. You just got feisty at me. It came out sideways. You were feisty at someone else.
Anyway, okay. The first question, saw the Fern teaser video the winery posted. I don't know that Jessie knows any of the things that we post. So anyway, there's a little teaser that I made way back when we first started the show.
Okay.
So much has changed. Looking back at pandemic lockdown, what are you most surprised at?
You mean winery-wise, or?
The little teaser has like photos of, how we were locked in the house, not going anywhere, going a little stir crazy, started a wine show in our living room.
Okay.
It was real basic.
Yeah.
And pretty funny. Those first ones were a lot of fun. But it does look very different. And also like we were losing it, And
that's
now,
true, yeah.
yeah, when we look back, I think, the pandemic was so interesting for everybody because we thought it was going to stop. And it's still
Right. It was like a
going.
month off or a 2 month, like, hey, look at the weird thing we're doing right now. And obviously, we all know what happened. We locked down, and then very, 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 like slower than any of us could possibly imagine at that point, come out of it, right? But we're not out of it. Obviously, still we're dealing with all this crap.
Yeah.
We had COVID, it's 8 weeks ago now. I think we got it.
Yeah, the end
and
of
it
May.
still hurts. Like I wore my stupid mask around all over town today. Even though most people weren't, and I mean, I just don't want that shit again.
Yeah,
that
and
was
there's
horrible.
a surge happening right now. I cannot get it again.
Everyone we know has COVID right now, and it's like it's not showing up in the numbers, but everyone I've it's like, oh yeah,
because all these
I've got it.
at-home
My sister
tests.
has it.
Yeah.
Like,
If you're doing tests at home, it's not registering, but
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And-
I think, one of the things that was a surprise that you and I just even recently talked about was, and you just mentioned, was that, like, fun. Like, what is happening to the world? What? Let's watch a bunch of movies and drink during the day. And we were kind of having a good time because we didn't know anybody affected. We were in this little rural community and very protected by our unique lives. And
We
so
could also-
we just thought it was like
We have
fun.
10 acres to roam around on here, or if I had to go down the winery and or the tasting room property and do stuff, that's another 12 acres there. Like, I could like move about, no problem. I can't even fathom being in a 500 square foot apartment in some city somewhere, like, and like literally can't leave, like, by law. Oh, that was rough for some people. It was not rough for us in that way.
Yeah. So looking back, I do think it's entertaining to think of how naive we were, I guess.
Oh, remember they were like, oh my God, people in Africa are going to be dealing with this in 2022, 2023. And we're like, oh my God, what a nightmare. That's the whole world. We all dealt with it until 2022.
Reality is calling.
And now they're like, you'll deal with it the rest of your life. Yeah. So that's kind of surprising. Obviously, we all have to get on with life, right? But
and trying to manage it for sure. It's been very weird.
Yeah.
But boy, were we perky and thinner.
Thinner.
Yeah. Having ice cream in the house every day because somehow that seemed like a good idea, and day drinking all day, and
I didn't eat much ice cream.
And
well, fucking good for you. sorry.
It's so
The staff, you can never find good help. What are you gonna do?
So anyway, it was just things went off the rails, and then you're only wearing comfy pants every day. Well, those have a lot of give, and then now I'm like, ooh, gee. Anyway, so there's a lot. I think it's very funny to look back, and hopefully you have some sense of humor and are not, just in misery as you continue to get through this too.
This is not the worst.
Second one.
This is not the worst pandemic that humanity has lived through. This thing has taken, at best 1% of us, which is a nightmare. But
and hard for anybody that's actually lost somebody. We haven't had that, so it's easy to.
And it affects us all psychologically and stuff like that. And unfortunately, had the effect of dividing us even further, which sucks. But as pandemics go, it's not the Black Plague, it's not the Spanish flu of 100 years ago. Like, it could be.
However, if Jesse keeps bitching about how mean I am, it might turn into the Black Plague over here at the house.
There we go. Exactly.
Let's jump into the second question because we're going a little long. Michelle, you said you got your sense of smell back by doing sommelier training. What exactly is that, and can you give a class to help those of us struggling after COVID to do it too?
Ooh, yeah.
So
It's
it's so funny because Jesse and I were just talking about my experience and why haven't I offered a class yet? And actually, one of our really big, enthusiastic VVOC fans, Robin, she was talking about wanting to possibly have me teach her and her group of friends a class. And I'm like, I don't know why I haven't even talked about this and put it out there. So
Yeah.
I'm going to put a date on the calendar when we get back from reunion and offer a class that will be limited seating. I'll work out some of the details. But one of the big things, I love this particular suggestion because it really was so important. And I've talked about it before, put things in a glass. They smell so different in the glass versus in your hand. And that is what I did. I got all kinds of different fruits and put the, peeled rind in the glass and smelled it. I put the fruit itself in a glass and then you compare them. We actually, it's really a fascinating thing. It sounds really geeky, but it's really so important to be able to identify. And as soon as you start linking those smells and your brain starts being activated that way, things started clicking for me at a very rapid rate. And I got a lot of that back very, very fast. Yeah. And I really attribute it to, really keeping your mind and your attention to what you're smelling right then and drawing those conclusions. So I'll have that as part of the class. And, anybody that is struggling, maybe I can help you.
But it's, it's things like the wine sensory kits or whatever, where you have like 10 or 20 samples and you put a couple drops in some water. Like, they're all a little different or whatever, but she just did it with raw ingredients, a couple herbs and, lemon and lemon rind and orange rind and just very basic things, putting them in there and trying to like exercise and reconnect those neural pathways which get interrupted by COVID. COVID's an interesting one because it interrupts things, interrupts or scrambles things in the brain. Those pathways still exist, but you're not
getting that information.
You're not getting the information exactly. So that's why it's bad for Alzheimer's. That's why it's bad for potentially losing your smell and taste. That's why things get like a little bit scrambled. It's a multi-system scrambling. A lot of it's in the brain, and so that's what happens with COVID or whatever. And just establishing that, like, when I smell that, you reconnect that, whatever that is. It smells different. You've got new smells now that like certain things are more astute but odd. and then other things are like not coming back as much. So you've got like holes in your sensory palate that you didn't used to have, and now, but you maybe have greater abilities in some ways that you
it's pretty trippy.
Have yet to figure out how to use.
and I'm going to continue to survey where those holes are and work on getting those nuances back. And I mean, I understand that for me, it's a very different ball game than most people.
Well, you started out at, it's like Chris Froome. I'm watching the Tour de France right now, and Chris Froome had a good day in the race today. For the first time since he ran into a wall at like almost 40 miles an hour back in 2019, he broke his femur, he broke his elbow, he broke his sternum, he broke some ribs, he had a collapsed lung. Like multiple injuries that would put the rest of us on crutches for the rest of our lives. He just did. I'm not going to spoil it or whatever, but he didn't.
Oh, right.
Anyway, but I'm going to say he did.
He's resurrected himself.
His first good day in 3 years.
Wow.
And but he's somebody who's really operating at a high level has the ability to get back to somewhere near that high level. Whereas, if you start out, average, it's hard to get,
Yeah.
average. If average is your best that you're going to get back up to, it's hard to say, I don't know.
Unless you start doing the work. And anybody can
Yes, that's true.
increase their sense of smell and their
Everyone
ability.
could do better than they're doing already.
Exactly. And so we did talk about fruits and things, but you did mention herbs. Herbs are a great one to put in a glass and also in the palm of your hand and compare. There's also simple things like a cookie or bread or, things that you wouldn't normally think of, a chip, different types of chips, and smell them in a glass. I swear it's going to really change your whole idea of what you can find in a wine. And so I think it'll be a lot of fun. Thank you for that suggestion. I'm definitely going to do it, and more details will be coming.
Totally.
All right, where is the next big trip going to be for you guys?
We've talked about this, right?
Uh-huh.
And we're trying to figure it out. Every time it's like this big, like, all right, we usually start discussing it on on the trip that we're currently on. We're like, all right, so where's next? What sucks about this one that you'd like to change for the next one? And so we always change it drastically, and we don't know yet.
There's a lot of places, and I think some amount depends on if I get invited to a competition. That makes a big difference because they help pay for stuff. So that makes it much easier for us as a family of 3 to get somewhere.
Right? They take 1/3 of the cost of the flying there, or the whatever it is.
Or we have a section where we're staying in a hotel, and those meals and visiting the city, those all get covered.
But it also, like on this last trip, we weren't going to Europe, we were going to Bali, but she happened to have a couple trips that ended up bookending our trip, so we went through Europe, both going and coming, which cost us a lot more, and then we ended up spending a lot more time in Europe, which is really, really, really expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole thing was a little messy. We didn't anticipate that, but...
So, if we're going to Africa, we'll probably try to time it through Europe again, because you got to fly there anyway.
Right.
And then, but if we were to go to, like, South America, that would have nothing to do with it, and so Europe would just be its own extra cost I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. Peru is high on the list. Some South America stuff, of course.
Sure. There's
Kilimanjaro. I really, really want to climb.
And South Africa, I'd like to do shark dives and, of course, the wine. And maybe there's a competition down there that I could get into. That would be cool.
Right.
And then there's also Portugal. I really want to go to Portugal, and there's a competition there I'd like to be a part of.
And there's a chance you could get into Tokyo.
Well, no, that's Korea. It's South Korea. Yeah.
You were not talking about Tokyo. I thought you were talking about...
No. But there is an amazing competition in Japan that is 10 days, fully paid for. Sounds very lush, very cool, but you must speak Japanese. So I don't think it's going to happen for me in this lifetime.
That's right. I'm remembering that one.
I'm like, I want to do it. Oh no, I guess. So anyway.
So the answer is we don't know yet. And luckily we came back 10 grand in debt, so it's going to take a second to come out of that and then save for the next one.
So painful. And that is what we do, is we scrape things together so that we can do these trips and try to live as simply as possible so that we can go travel. So we might be hitting some small things. Like, I really want to go to Graceland. I'm a huge Elvis fan. And it's the 45th year of his passing. And the movie is out
Elvis.
right now.
Yeah, you didn't say Elvis. You just said Graceland. I assume everyone knows.
I said I was a huge Elvis fan.
You said I'm a huge fan of his.
No, I said I was a huge Elvis fan. This is the problem, is that husbands don't listen. Anyway, so I think that would be really fun. It's something that we've never done, and we've never even really spent time over there, and that would be kind of cool. So we might do little chunks instead of doing a really big trip and save up again. So there you go. All right. And the fourth question and final question for today is I don't like dessert wines. What are the best dry wines to pair with desserts?
Whoever this is, you're speaking my language. I really love, 5 sips of a well-made sweet wine. After that, I'm done. I don't want a glass of it. I want 2 ounces of it, 3 ounces of it. I mean, if it's the best of the best of the best, maybe 3 ounces. But I just don't want to, unless it's instead of dessert. But if I want something to pair with dessert, if it's chocolate,
a little bit of port just by itself, I can do that.
Yeah. If I'm gonna smoke a cigar, somehow that super smoke really tampers down the port. But
or
if you're gonna,
warm nuts and cheeses are fabulous with port.
they really are. They pair great. I still don't want that much.
Yeah, that's true.
Red wines go with chocolate. Like a high tannin red wine goes with chocolate really well. I love that. What else?
If you like tannin, you got to be careful with that one.
Yeah.
Because if you do
it's
a
tannin
dark,
and tannin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Chocolates are tannin-y. Chocolate in general is tannin, has a lot of tannin.
Yeah. A lot of times if you can do a chocolate drizzle over fruit, berries, that's always a great combination with various wines because the berry really gives it a lot to play with too.
But almost always red. I mean, there's a few white wines that it could go with. What else you got?
I actually really like, which I hate to talk too much about because I'm actually giving a class about chocolate and wine pairings, and I'm like, I kind of wanted this to be a surprise, but I really like high acid whites with white chocolate.
Oh, weird. Okay.
I know, because I'm not a white chocolate fan, but it twists that super sweet quality of the white chocolate, and so I think that's a really nice dynamic and really kind of fun to play with.
And what else you got?
I think you're spot on. I totally agree. And for me, I love earthy wines. I love tannin. So that's my personal favorite, is to do a really dark chocolate with a really tannic red wine. That is heaven to me. But I also
what if you're having pie? Like, my favorite dessert is pie and ice cream, but I would take the ice cream off if I'm pairing it.
Yes.
And then so you got
no ice cream.
Say you got cherry pie. What do you pair with that?
Actually, I think your Alianico is phenomenal with the cherry pie.
So you would go with a rich red wine that has some cherry notes?
A rich, very full fruit. Again, you're looking at some tannin in the cherry and tannin in the wine. But also because of the oak interest from your French oak aging, it also gives a little bit of that vanilla kind of baked crust kind of thing. So you almost start to have an experience where you're tasting the cherry pie and then you're tasting a wine that's showing cherry pie. It's pretty cool. It's what we had leftover cherry pie from Denali's 16th birthday, and each time I have made sure that I had a glass of Alianico.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What about apple pie? I mean, we are in America.
Yeah, apple pie, I feel like that's got to be bubbly.
Bubbly, all right. So blanc de blanc, blanc de noir?
Well, if you...
Dry, or, I mean, obviously you want it dry,
It depends on who's made the pie. Because some people make sweet pies, and other people make more natural fruit sweetness pies. And so I think that works really well with just the natural flavor of the apples themselves, especially if you use multiple kinds of apples and you get that nice tart zing. That's a nice combination with the acidity of a brut sparkling.
All right,
in my mind.
One last one. Is there...
Tricky. I didn't know I was going to be put on the spot.
All right, one last one. Any way to possibly pair with key lime pie? No way.
I think that's got to be a
sweet,
off-dry, bubbly.
Yeah.
Right? So
no dry wine.
Extra dry is actually what you would look for a sweet. without being a demi-sec sparkling wine. It gets very confusing with sparkling. Sorry, that's not my fault. But I think that would work. And also, just no matter what, never with ice cream.
Never with ice cream. All right. I got one more, unfortunately. I'm sorry. What about pecan pie?
Okay, why is it all pie?
I love pie. Come on. Pie is good.
I'm like, there are so many more desserts out there.
I mean, there's cake, but come on.
What about creme brulee?
What am I, a 5-year-old?
Or chocolate mousse?
No, chocolate mousse. Everyone can pair it with chocolate mousse. Chocolate mousse, you just like throw a dart at a wine chart and you're set, you know?
Oh, rough.
Any red is great with chocolate mousse, basically.
Here. Hi.
Red of your flavor.
Okay.
Red of your choosing, whatever.
I would go with a sparkling rosé with a pecan pie.
Ew. Really? Everyone knows there's no such thing as a bourbon wine, so you just go with bourbon and your pecan pie and call it a day.
You said it was pecan pie, not bourbon pecan pie.
No, but bourbon will go with pecan pie. There's no other booze that'll go with pecan pie. You can't have a beer with pecan pie. You can't have a wine. I mean,
I think a
or am I wrong?
rosé. I think a rosé sparkling would totally work. Nuts with high acid wines are great. Also, the rosé component gives it more fruit, so you're looking at a compensating for the lack of fruit in the pie. And most sparkling wines are known for, if they're classically made, the yeasty, cakey kind of bread or baked pie element.
You don't think that the sweeter than hell gelatin is gonna like destroy anything you could possibly throw at it?
Well, it's notoriously the hardest dessert to pair with other than ice cream. So you asked for me to pick one on the spot. I picked one. Punk. Actually, port would be the best, probably.
Yeah.
But
if you want a dry wine,
exactly.
you might be SOL.
What about the pie that you like slam in your husband's face?
What
goes with those pies?
Those are traditionally, let's see, it's something with lots of foam on it. What kind of pies are those? Does anybody know?
Fake pies. They're just with
Oh, it's just a crust with whipped cream?
It's just whipped cream.
So what kind of wine do you pair with clowns then? I don't know.
I don't know, clown. What's your favorite wine?
Screw you, clown. Okay.
And welcome to our marriage. All right, we're going to wrap up. We've got new chocolates in the case. We have karaoke. We have live music happy hour on Saturday. Karaoke is on Friday. And we have Chef Gabriel from Taos bringing amazing food for both nights. So Friday and Saturday we have incredible food. Yeah. So don't forget to stop by, bring your friends, all that good stuff.
Also, Alianico's back on the list.
Yes,
and
speaking of.
What was the other one? Barbera is the other one?
Yes.
Alianico and Barbera are back on the list. The wine club members will be getting that next week. And that should go out Monday. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much. Don't forget, every time you buy a bottle, we plant a tree with Eden Reforestation Projects. Huh?
Yay, she remembered.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.
Cheers, y'all.